Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the episode of Just Say Guay. I'm your host, George Guay. Today I'm joined by Michael Adler, who's the lacrosse goalie at Duke University. Mike, thanks for on the show.
Yeah, George, thanks for having me. Big fan.
Yeah, so how these past few years been, man? I mean, you had the transfer from St. Joe's to Duke. There was a pandemic that's sort of still going on. You're playing in a season where you guys are highly ranked and you're leading the nation in saves. How's that going?
Yeah, having an absolute blast. I did the 6-year college journey, a bit unconventional, but it's been an absolute dream. I was kind of under recruited coming out of high school, so I honestly at first I thought that college lacrosse was kind of an afterthought, and I applied to College of Charleston. Just thought I'd surf some waves and have a good time in college. But St. Joe's was I was lucky enough to get a spot on the team and had some success there. Pandemic, redshirt, gave me 2 extra years. Duke offered me a spot, and it's been an absolute dream too. And so, no complaints from my end.
Yeah, so take me through what was the lacrosse culture like where you grew up before you went to St. Joe's?
Yeah, South Florida, I would say, especially when I was kind of going through the youth lacrosse process and everything like that, there wasn't that much of a lacrosse culture. I'd say it's super grassroots, fresh, new. You had some coaches from Long Island who would come down and give a couple clinics or some professional players, but it wasn't all that big. So it was it was cool though. That like everybody in South Florida who's part of the lacrosse like knows each other because it's super small. So it was an awesome time. However, when that you always play for fun, but when you wanted to start getting recruited, there wasn't too many college coaches coming down to South Florida to go to a high school lacrosse game. So that was tough. So you always had to come to places like Long Island, Baltimore, Providence, places like that. So pros and cons to it, but overall, absolutely loved it, and it all worked out for me and my brother.
Yeah, for sure. And you found your way up to St. Joe's. What was it like going to there from South Florida, playing in Philadelphia, and um, having a lot of
Yeah,
great success there?
yeah, I will say Fort Lauderdale and Philadelphia, Pennsylvania could not be any more different from a culture perspective. I mean, I'll start with sports. No one cares about the Miami Dolphins or the Heat all that much because there's other stuff to do. While you go to Philly, it's like if the Eagles lose, people are devastated for the rest of the week. So that was a huge change. Grew up around the beach, so definitely a bit different. And then the climate's obviously you got to deal with that factor. Fort Lauderdale is a little more mild of a climate than Philadelphia, but I will say St. Joe's was awesome. It was a really cool spot. They gave me an opportunity that a lot of schools didn't. So forever grateful, forever a Hawk. And it was a small school vibe that I didn't know I wanted, but I think I needed. And it really gave you the opportunity to meet a lot of people. Like I'm sure it's kind of a similar situation like Providence. Providence is definitely a bit bigger, but the Jesuit schools, it's a small basketball school, and had an absolute blast. Met some lifelong friends. Had a coach who is still a huge part of my life and a mentor forever. So overall, it was just an A+ experience.
Yeah, for sure. And I can't agree anymore on the importance of the Eagles in Philadelphia. My mom is from Philadelphia. I go there at least twice a year, and I still think I don't get how important it is, even though I feel like that's as close as I can get to, other than living there or going to college there like you did. So, you had great success. You were named in 2020 to Lacrosse Media All-American Team. You were fourth all-time in save percentage and fifth all-time in goals against average in school history. Just what was the key to dominating like that?
Yeah, I think I'll start off by saying that I had a great defense in front of me, and that's huge. I mean, a goalie, I think in any sport, you're the result of the people in front of you. If the defense is playing well, you play well. As a goalie, though, you get that credit. So it was awesome. I mean, it's a learning experience. I think the goalie position, looking back on it, it's a team position. You can't overcomplicate it too much. And I think at St. Joe's, I had times where I overcomplicated things a bit, but Yeah, I think technique wise, you have to be the biggest advocate for yourself. You got to take pride in your craft more than your coaches are going to, more than your teammates are going to. And that's one thing that kind of the culture at St. Joe's instilled in me. It's like, listen, they have all the resources to make you an All-American. It's like it's up to you to really dive in and go do that, whether that's watching film, whether that's taking extra shots, whether that's being in the weight room. And I with COVID, so I redshirted my freshman year at St. Joe's. Um, so I had 2 years of eligibility. Um, Duke just seemed like a perfect fit from a culture perspective, from an academic perspective, on the field, where it's located geographically. And it was just something that was an absolute dream. I think people dream to play lacrosse for Duke, and to be able to get an opportunity at that was something that I'll forever be grateful for. And I will say Coach Danowski is just an absolute legend. And he's like the Coach K of the lacrosse world, and if not more than that. And getting an opportunity to learn from somebody like that, not just as a lacrosse player, but as a person, um, just made the experience so much better. And yeah, it's been awesome.
Yeah, it's interesting how it worked out, and obviously it's an opportunity you can't turn down. So, how hard was it to stay, good and active as a goalie during the pandemic when you were playing in a time where you didn't even know if you were going to have a season next year?
Yeah, it was tough. That summer was weird, and Duke obviously was pretty strict on COVID policies compared to the Duke students really get behind it. So it's cool. And then on the lacrosse side of things, I think I've said this word 50 times and it sounds a little repetitive, but it's an absolute dream. I can't imagine a better place to be a lacrosse player than Duke. And yes, the facilities are great. Yes, the lacrosse team is great. And it sounds a little cheesy and lame, and I know it's a kind of a bad answer, but it truly is the people that really make the place. I mean, like I've mentioned. Long Island kids on our team. So it's cool to kind of go back there. I'm personally not a fan of Long Island. So I would rather go to South Florida and play a lacrosse game there. But for some reason, we're traveling to 30-degree weather and playing a lacrosse game in Long Island.